Hello there, my very good friends. Andy here for What Culture. These are 10 new directions for WWE after SummerSlam 2023. The premium live event is in the books, and after it, Bayley is definitely turning on Io Sky. That's entry number 10, by the way. Let's get this thing going. Damage Control is about to come very damaged indeed. Now, this trio, they were all friends, all pals at the premium live event where Io Sky, of course, cashed in her Money in the Bank briefcase, becoming a champion, singles champion, I should say, for the very first time on the main roster. Dakota Kai came back and she's not even cleared, and they were hanging out at the press conference, having a great time, having a blast. Friends forever, right? Well, no, this is professional wrestling. Friends are never forever in this silly little industry, and we've already been teasing tension in WWE between Bayley and Io on TV for the past couple of months, maybe the past couple of weeks. I don't know, man. My sense of time is completely cooked at this point, but it might not happen immediately. Maybe WWE will give this a few weeks to breathe. We'll see how it plays out. Payback really isn't all that long away, and they might slot it in for then, but I think it'd be nice if they gave it a month or two just to settle before pulling the trigger on an almighty split. Either way, I think it's going to happen, and also Bayley's just a really good feud for a champion who's holding gold on the main roster, singles gold for the first time, to establish himself against one of the pillars of this division. It could be really good stuff. Dakota Kai's not cleared yet. She can come back and either side with Bayley afterwards or side with Io. There's all kinds of directions to explore. Could go for several PLE arcs. It's good. Number 9, Bianca Belair goes heel. Again, this is something that WWE have been teasing for a while now. Bianca, since she moved over to SmackDown, they've been messing with her alignment a little bit. She hasn't been the pure babyface that she has been for the majority of her run in WWE, particularly throughout the feud with Charlotte Flair and Asuka, which culminated at the PLE, the events of which Bianca has a right to be a little annoyed about. She went through all that effort in the triple threat, she won the match, she became champion once more, she thought she was heading out of the show holding the gold, 20-minute match, hard work, hard hitting, all of that stuff. And then Io Sky cashes in and suddenly she's not a champion 10 seconds later. She could use that as kind of a catalyst for a full-on turn. And if you want to do it creative-wise, well, a report from Boozer Wrestling, actually dating as far back as May, I think it was, might have the direction for this. They reported at the time that by the end of 2023, Bianca Belair and the Street Profits were going to go to SmackDown, turn heel, and potentially work together. Now, Bianca and the Street Profits are obviously connected due to the minor issue of Bianca being married to Montez Ford. The Profits have already kind of gone heel. They've aligned with Bobby Lashley on SmackDown. Maybe Bianca could join that group if that report is still accurate. If it's not, I'm sure there's plenty of other things you could do with her, but hey, I'm just following the news, just following the reporting. It could work. Number 8, LA Knight's push. So, LA Knight, 2023, loses to Bray Wyatt in the Mountain Dew match. Doesn't do anything at WrestleMania, really. Doesn't win Money in the Bank. Doesn't win the US title Invitational, despite being one of the most over wrestlers this company has had probably since the Attitude Era. But the positive news is that he won the SummerSlam Battle Royal, and yes, it's just a Battle Royal, but the pop for him was monstrous, and he at least got a win on one of the biggest shows of the year. Now is the time to finally push this guy to the moon. I mean, it's been the time to push this guy to the moon for about 4 months now, let's not kid ourselves. But if WWE doesn't really make the opportunity, take the chance to do so after this Battle Royal, what are we even doing here? I think he would make a fine next United States champion. Yes, he lost that Invitational. Yes, Santos Escobar is kicking around as well. But LA Knight's the man. How can you not put him in a position of prominence? He'd have a tremendous run with that belt. Make it feel like less of a marshmallow like it has around the waist of Austin Theory, and into something worth holding again. And then potentially he might even win the Royal Rumble. Who knows? Just push the guy. He's really over and he's fun. Number 7, more emphasis on the tag titles. There was no sign of the tag team championships at SummerSlam, which is kind of disappointing considering Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn literally headlined night 1 of WrestleMania this year. By the time you get to one of the other big shows of the year, they're not even on the lineup. That's a bit of a shame, and it's been kind of the pattern they followed since taking these belts from the Usos in the first place. It's not that they've had a bad time, they've not been buried or any nonsense like that, but they've definitely felt a little less important than they did heading in to the biggest show of the year. Now is the time to right that course and put them in a more substantial tag team program. Kevin Owens has been pretty vocal about this, about the belt's presentation and everything else, so maybe we'll see that reflect on TV now. Number of different options as well. You could keep the belts together, you could split them up so that each belt has a presence on both brands like we had before. Either way, you gotta give Kevin and Sami something a bit more substantial to do. I get a real kick out of this Kevin Owens character just complaining about the show he's on. I think it's fun every single week. But give him fewer reasons to complain and we'd all be a bit happier. Number 6, Gunther breaking WWE's record. So the Honky Tonk Man's record-breaking Intercontinental title run was 454 days. Gunther has currently held the belt for 423. It would be incredibly cruel of WWE now that we're so close to kind of snatch that away from the big Austrian, and I don't think they're going to do that. Unless Vince McMahon suddenly recovers from his spinal surgery and decides to be a little stinker, I think Gunther is going to get there relatively straightforwardly, and he deserves it. This has been a tremendous run with the Intercontinental title. It actually feels like a work rate belt for the first time in like 30 years. Applying the word secondary doesn't really feel appropriate to the title, even though it technically is that, because the the World Heavyweight Championship exists on Raw already. It's just been a tremendous run across the board. Gunther's been an unqualified success. He deserves to break the record, and he is going to. Number 5. Gunther loses the Intercontinental title. I guess this is a new direction within a new direction. New direct Exception. That's the worst thing I've ever said, but forget that for a second. I think Gunther should lose the belt soon after hitting the Honky Tonk Man's landmark, because it's time for him to be pushed up. He has deserved the opportunity to become a true main event player in WWE and challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship on Raw, not just the IC. And look, when I say not just the IC, I'm not demeaning what he's done. I'm not undermining that. Full of admiration for all of it. But this guy right now should be headlining pay-per-views. He should be a leading Royal Rumble contender. He should be a candidate to headline one of those nights of WrestleMania, really. And it would be difficult for him to do that, remaining in his current position. Also, the Sheamus storyline, kind of perfect. I know they're on different brands at the moment, but that won't really stop WWE in how they configure this thing. It's too romantic not to put that belt on Sheamus, not to give him the Grand Slam at this late stage in his career after all the tremendous work he's been putting in, especially against Gunther. It's kind of perfect, kind of flawless, and kind of what they should do. Number 4, Judgment Day infighting. I'm still pretty upset about this, I'm not gonna lie. I like the Judgment Day just being weird jock goth friends on Raw. Their friendship is really endearing. They're one of the most just fun and just good time acts in WWE that they've had in a long, long time, and it pains me every single time I see Damian Priest and Finn Balor squabbling and bickering and costing each other's matches by sliding a briefcase in the ring and watching your mate get stomped into it. But that happened at SummerSlam. This tension's been going for ages. Damian Priest still has the Money in the Bank briefcase. You could do a lot of stuff like Balor trying to tell Priest to fall in line and Priest going, hey, you don't have a briefcase, I've got a briefcase, why should I fall in line? That should be you, Chief. Then there's all kinds of fun things with the loyalties of Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio. It's clearly a direction WWE is going in. It pains me. I don't want it yet. I want these people to be freak show friends for much longer, but it's happening. Number 3, Jimmy versus Jay. If you want to know my complete thoughts on the Usos, their split and everything else, check out the video I shot on Sunday. It's up on the channel, all about SummerSlam, covering every aspect of the big turn, of the big debate. But yeah, the match is happening at some point. Jimmy and Jay actually said to Ariel Helwani in an interview before SummerSlam, it's our dream to wrestle each other at WrestleMania. So it's entirely possible that WWE might keep their singles program going for as long as then, but Payback is just around the corner. Jay naturally will want some payback, so you should probably do that at Payback. that was really laboured, but you get the point. I think they'll have multiple matches before the storyline is done. I think it will keep evolving, keep shifting, and keep changing throughout the Bloodline stuff. They're gonna wrestle each other. They'll probably start the build on SmackDown this week, and maybe we'll see round 1 at Payback. Number 2, one last Bloodline 4-way. Can WWE really milk this? Can they get to the point where people are still frothing over the prospect of all 4 Bloodline members contesting the Universal title in a fatal 4-way match? Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso? Probably. I think they can. I think that with a lot of the kind of controversies or things that people have been upset about in this storyline, like the Cody Rhodes loss, people have gotten over them pretty quickly. Business has stayed booming. It hasn't really hurt them in any way, and I think it'll be the same for Jimmy and Jay and everything that happened at SummerSlam. You could do this match at Survivor Series. I think that Solo Sikoa is probably going to end up facing Roman one-on-one at some point, so the roadmap could be Survivor Series 4-way, Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa at the Royal Rumble, and then Roman maybe dropping the title at WrestleMania XL next year. It seems a likely direction. Remember, there's still loads of tension between Solo and Roman, so look out for this one for Survivor Series. And at number 1, Cody Rhodes winning the world title. But which one? The World Heavyweight title, or maybe both. Let me unpack this just a little bit. I know we're still fan booking Cody Rhodes winning the big one, defeating Roman, completing this story at WrestleMania XL, and if I was booking WWE, I would go for that as well. That's the exact pathway that I would take heading into the biggest show of the year. But Cody Rhodes is kind of on fire at the moment, and he needs something really big, and if that really big thing can't be winning the Universal title right now, maybe he should dethrone Seth Rollins instead. I'm not saying I would do that for sure, but just look at the way things have played out. He beat Brock Lesnar, show of respect, hand in the air, big hug. That never happens with Brock, but that's what happened at SummerSlam. Rollins has had a pretty decent run as World Heavyweight Champion without really setting the world on fire. Well, Cody is on fire, and their feud was on fire last year, so a match between the two where Cody Rhodes wins the belt would probably be fire as well. I don't necessarily think that this means Cody can't then beat Roman at Mania and finish the story. He could have a bit of a shorter reign here. He could take the belt from Seth and then pass it on to like Gunther or someone, maybe around Royal Rumble season, and then work his way back in to the Universal scene instead. There's all kinds of possibilities, but I do think it's a likely direction coming out of SummerSlam. Either way, let us know in the comment section below. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for checking out this video that's right here on your screen right now. See you later.